Okay, guys, episode 43. And we are here with my friend, Crystal Demopoulos. Your nickname's Vanessa?
That's my middle name, and that's what I go by.
Oh, okay. You
Yeah.
like it better than Crystal?
Yeah. I
How
go
come?
by Vanessa.
Crystal's pretty good.
Crystal's all right. It's all right.
It's just you just not into it that much.
Like, growing up, my family called me Vanessa, so that's, like, more comforting to me. Yeah.
So you had a pretty interesting upbringing. I heard about. I didn't go into it too much, but what was it like? What was your upbringing like? You got raised kind of in the
Dancing industry, yeah. So I was an exotic entertainer for 13 years. But growing up, like, my dad was a DJ and my mom was a dancer herself. And that's, like, how they met. So when I turned 18 and I was like, oh, like, I'm going to start dancing, my dad was like, oh, man, fuck. But let me show you how.
I'll DJ you.
Yeah. So he, helped me to be a professional in the industry versus, like, doing all the crazy partying lifestyle and stuff.
Yeah.
And, instead of falling into those traps.
I mean, I'm sure it's just like because the girls probably love some cocaine, right?
Oh, yeah.
MDMA too, or Molly, or
Oh, I'm sure they do it all.
All of
I'm sure
it?
they do it all.
yeah, I bet you have a bunch of good stories. So you started dancing from 18 to how old?
Until I was 33.
Sweet.
Yeah,
At the same club?
No. I danced at clubs all around the country. So, headlined in some of them. In, like, New York, I opened up a very main club out there called Sapphire when they opened up their location on 34th. I danced at, like, KOD in Miami, like the Tootsies in Miami. I danced over at Magic City in Atlanta.
Did you?
Yeah.
At Magic City? Dang.
Yeah. I danced in Vegas at Hustler. They've actually sponsored me for some of my fights. So,
Sweet.
like, I have sports bras that say, like, Larry Flint's Hustler Club.
So did your mom retire yet?
Oh, yeah. No, she was done dancing when I was super young still. Yeah.
Damn, so that's pretty cool. So when was the first time you saw your mom dance? And
Oh, I never got to see my mom dance. But, and I never got to watch my dad DJ either. But, like, my dad always used to come into the clubs and stuff and, like, watch me dance just because, like, he'd be there, like, hanging out and stuff. Yeah.
damn, so that's pretty cool.
My whole family, too, not just my dad. Like, my grandfather, like, my aunts, my great aunts, like, they'd come in and stuff, and I'd be competing in pole dancing. And my sister would throw money at me. Like,
Damn, that's badass. So you started dancing at 18. What age did you start jiu-jitsu?
I didn't start jiu-jitsu until I was, like, 23. I started off in Muay Thai when I was 21. Yeah, and then we, like, helped build an MMA gym. And they kind of, like, pushed me into jiu-jitsu because they're like, oh, you have to start training for MMA. I was like, man, forget that. Like, I'll just head kick people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
So
when
you've always been pretty feisty?
I'm very aggressive.
Really?
Yeah, my whole life.
What made you want to go into the jiu-jitsu academy? Or
We helped to build an MMA gym back when I was in Columbus, Ohio. So we had a Muay Thai gym that we were at. And then, when we built the MMA gym, we brought in a professor from Brazil. And he, like, lived on my couch for 6 months, didn't even speak English. But, and then I started slowly kind of coming into jiu-jitsu. I didn't want to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I, like, cried for 6 months. Like,
after getting tapped out a couple times, you'd get pissed?
man, no, yeah, forget that. I'm, like, little, like, and all
Yeah.
the dudes were really big, and I was the only chick, and I'm just, like, so frustrated, and I'm so feisty, and I'm like, oh, like.
Yeah, especially guys. Guys don't really, a lot of guys don't know really how to roll with newer girls.
Right.
They just beat the fuck out of them. It's like, hey, dude. It pisses me off when they do that, too. But did you ever get in any, like, fights at the strip joint?
Yeah.
With chicks or guys?
Never with the chicks, always with the guys. Yeah. I never really had to fight the girls, honestly, because, like, even before I was a fighter, I've always been, like, very built.
Yeah. Athletic.
So, very athletic. Like, I played football in school, like in middle school, and then skateboarded all through high school. And so I was always kind of stacked. And then I was very athletic in the pole dancing, which is what translated. That's actually how I got into fighting in the first place. And but then, like, customers would either be too handsy or they'd try to rip me off, and I'd have to chase them down because the bouncers aren't doing their job. Then I'd have to choke them out.
So sometimes they get too horned up and you'd say no, and then they'd keep going.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I had like this wax on, wax off kind of technique, right? Where like I'd like gently reposition their hands and they'd find a way to gently reposition their hands and I'd be like, okay. And if they started getting more aggressive and abrasive, then I'd have to like manipulate them and then choke them out.
Fucking neck.
Yeah.
So sometimes they try to stiff you after. So after
that's
when
happened.
they're supposed to pay you, they're like, nah, sorry.
Yeah. Pre-fighter, I've done some gangster shit. Like before I was a fighter, this one time, I remember I was in Detroit and dude stiffed me off like a few $100, and I was like, all right, give me your shoe. And he's like, okay. He went to go give me both. I'm like, no, give me one. So dude walked out with one shoe and it's like, you're going to go home. You're going to think about me because like now you got one missing shoe, you know? I'd hold on to people's like wedding rings, like their watches until like they left to come pay. Because an ID, like you can go buy another $20 ID.
Yeah.
But like if you're missing something, like you're going to think about it. Yeah.
So do the girls get catty very much at those joints, or do you try to steer clear from that?
Cattiness is the name of the game.
Is it?
Yeah.
Dang,
It's
I
a Shark
bet.
Tank, man.
Dude, I bet.
Yeah. Like they're friendly, but it's like like they're always kind of waiting for you to slip up, you know? Like they want you to not do well.
You're there to hustle.
You're there to hustle, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're not really all like friends and stuff, you know?
So is there anything you kind of miss about it or don't miss about it at all?
Man, honestly, I miss like dancing in general. Like I have a pole in my living room now, so like I still get to like have fun and get that out, but I miss like being on stage and just like performing. Like I'm a performer.
Really?
Like I'm an entertainer, you know? Yeah, like I miss that. Like I miss people just like throwing money at me just to smile. Like
Hell yeah.
Yeah, like what positive reinforcement, you know, like
Yeah.
that's kind of life-giving in a little bit, you
Yeah.
know? Like you just sitting up there just like living your best life, just doing you, and people are just like throwing money at you and you're like, "Oh, okay, cool." You know?
that's
Guess
pretty
I'll do that
awesome.
again.
Yeah. They this place right next door it's like the little like thrift store right here. He's moving out, and a pole dancing instructor lady might be moving in there.
Oh, nice.
So I'm like, that's perfect.
Yeah. I've tried to do, I actually got certified to be a pole instructor at one point. And then I was like trying to get jobs to be an instructor, you know, the same way that you're a jiu-jitsu instructor. And no one would hire me. And I'm like, what the heck? They're like, well, you need like pole dancing background versus like being a stripper background. I'm like, but I have on the job experience. Like, yeah.
So have you always had like because you're pretty ripped, and I could tell you have like a lot of healthy habits. When did you start those? What age?
I would say that I started those when I was 21. When
Learning
I started
to eat healthy.
learning to eat healthy. Yeah. Before that, I was just eating like pizza, fast food, Taco Bell every day, cookies at nighttime, and I still only weighed like 104 pounds.
Good genes, huh?
Yeah, but it was like the minute I started eating healthy, my weight blew up to what it is now. It was like almost instant. Like I didn't recognize my body. It was almost like waiting for proper nutrition. I didn't realize like not eating right was why I was so thin.
So who kind of taught you to eat better?
My first coach, my
Oh, he
first
did?
MMA coach, who was also the manager at the club that I worked at,
Dang.
who was also my boyfriend.
Damn.
So yeah.
Damn, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time in the same areas.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so what kind of stuff do you do? I mean, you have a pretty strict diet now. Do you like to eat perfect out of camp too, or what kind of things do you like to splurge on?
Man, I do eat perfect out of camp.
Do
and
you?
yeah,
You just like it.
I like eating healthy. I like feeling good. It makes me happier. It gives me a lot more energy. And yeah, I'm pretty high energy. I'm high rev.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you came in practice the other day and you said this was your third practice. So sometimes
yeah.
get 3 workouts a day.
3 or 4. Yeah. Yeah.
4?
Yeah. The first time I came in, that was my 4th one.
Damn. That's
And we
pretty
went
impressive.
hard that day.
Yeah.
They were all coming for me because that was the first time I came here. I was like, okay, guys,
Yeah, that's awesome. So you never got into any drugs or alcohol or anything?
Oh yeah, I used to definitely have a lot of fun with some hallucinogens, you know. So
Mainly just hallucinogens?
yes,
Mushrooms and acid?
Yes.
What age were you doing that?
When I was like 19. Yeah. There was like a full summer of just like going in with that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
How many grams at one time did you take, you think?
I don't know,
Most?
man. I don't know.
You're just munching them?
I just go in. Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty wild, pretty crazy. But that's like when I found fighting, and like I smoked a lot of weed, I smoked a lot of cigarettes, and yeah, like when I started fighting, I was like, oh my gosh, like I almost died that first day. Not literally, but you know, you feel like you're gonna. And then I was like, all right, I'm either gonna take this serious and train, or I'm never training again in my life, you know, and I'm just going to keep living the way I'm living because.
So now you don't hit any drugs?
No, never.
Coffee?
Oh, yes. But 1 cup in the morning. That's it.
Okay.
Just 1 cup.
Plain?
No. Lots of sugar.
Lots of sugar?
Yes. Lots of milk.
Yeah.
I like coffee and my milk and sugar, you know?
Just 2% milk?
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn, so pretty basic with the coffee.
Yeah. What about you? Do you like to have fun and experiment a little bit on the in between?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We like our drugs. I mean, we like earning them too.
Okay.
I do smoke weed every night usually when I've kind of earned it and got my day done. I like the weed.
Yeah.
And then when we go out and party, I don't really like the alcohol. That's one of the things I'm like, fuck. It just, unless you're around some chicks and they're loosening up too. But I would prefer just doing a little bit of MDMA.
Okay. Okay.
Stay hydrated, wake up not hungover.
Okay. So is that like, I've never done that one. So is that more of like kind of like a wild hallucinogen, or is that like a?
You don't hallucinate at all. Probably the feeling. Okay, the feeling you get after you've won your UFC fight. You get that feeling for a couple hours.
Stop
and
it.
just everyone around you want to hug, and you're like, you're fucking awesome. You're completely coherent.
Okay.
Especially if it's like, yeah, good stuff. So it's just like, wow, I feel fucking great.
Damn.
And it's not like cocaine where you're like just kind of anxious and stuff. It's,
Okay.
I don't know. It's pretty fucking sweet.
Okay. Okay. How often do you get to do that? Because that sounds
We do
like
it every
some.
couple. I mean, for a while I do it maybe once a year, twice a year. But,
Okay.
I mean, these past couple months we've been doing a little bit more, but I don't think it's super healthy to do all the time, like anything.
I mean, I guess it like how much scientific evidence is there really on what is and isn't healthy when it comes to that stuff, right? Because I
Well,
feel like the happier you are, the better you are, like all around and spiritually. So.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're doing a lot of research on it now.
Okay.
They're doing a lot of research on it, and it's coming out. It's helping people get over like
Depression
and like coming back from war.
Yeah.
People that come back from war, they do some MDMA stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we like to have a good time when we've earned it.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. And you earn it like rent is due every day, you know, like
Yeah.
you continue to earn it. Like I see you in here, you know, like you have your gi on and then like you take the gi off. I know that you're doing stuff in the mornings and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got a pretty packed schedule too. So like
Yeah.
you earn that downtime.
Yeah. And it's not too packed. My schedule's not too packed. It's all the shit I'm doing throughout the day is stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
Which I'm thankful for.
Man, that's the life.
So you don't have a boyfriend right now?
Nah.
You got a Tinder?
Nah.
Really? No
Yeah.
swipes?
No swipes, man. Swipe or no swiping.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you ever swiped?
I have.
You didn't like
I
it?
have. You know, I was on like the Hinge for a while. Yeah, and like I'd like go out on dates and I'm just like so freaking bored. I'm like, I would rather be training.
Yeah.
Like literally, like that's why like I don't even like dating, because I'm just like, man, I'd rather just go back to the gym right now. Like, yeah.
God, dates are so hard. Did you get hit on quite a bit?
No, not as much as you'd think, to be honest with you.
Never in stores or coffee shops or anything?
I mean, I feel like I wish. I
Yeah.
feel like I'd probably be dating someone if that was the case.
Yeah.
Maybe I like walk around looking too aggressive and dudes are like, oh, I don't know about her. Like,
Yeah. So you don't have any friends or friends with benefits or anything, huh?
No.
Damn.
Yeah,
So you're just
yeah.
going solo. And you have no animals.
No, and no animals. Yeah, I have I have friends, but I don't have like the friends with benefits.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, like of course I have friends. Yeah. But like I'm not getting laid right now, you know?
So
Yeah.
your schedule's pretty much freed up to just train.
Yeah, that's
Train
it.
and recover.
That's it. That's it.
What kind of stuff do you really like to do when you're recovering?
I love going hiking. Like I love being outside, and even if I'm not like hiking, like I'll just take a random trip to the mountains and just like sit, enjoy, appreciate, freaking breathe, you
Hell
know?
yeah.
Yeah. I like going to the movies and doing that kind of stuff. And I love dancing. And, you know, I'll hop on the pole sometimes
Even
just
just by
because
yourself?
I just feel like it,
That's
you know?
sweet.
I just want to. Yeah. Then, like, I'll set up my camera sometimes and just, like, play some music and just, like, do some crazy shit.
Do you ever do any cold plunges or anything?
I need to.
Have you ever tried? Or
I have, and I love it.
you liked it?
Yeah. How often do you get to cold plunge?
Every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop.
I have it at my house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh.
I love it.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. Well, I hate it every night. I fucking hate it, especially when I'm doing a little smoke. But I mean, anything tough like that, I feel like it's just adding to your mental toughness bank
Okay.
over and over and over. And I just feel good going to bed, probably 5-10 degrees cooler than usual.
I was going to say, is it more of the actual cold plunge that makes you feel successful with it? Or is it because, like, you feel like you've overcome something and you're like, man, like, that's a sense of accomplishment because I told myself I was going to and I did.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Both. And I just sleep better. I mean, how long have you been in AZ? You've been here for 1 year?
1 year.
And you live here now?
I live here now. Wow.
Are you liking it?
I love it.
It's fucking sweet, especially if you like to hike. There's so much good hiking, huh?
Yes.
Because where were you living before?
I was living in LA, but I love the beach. So I
Beach is nice.
I miss the beach being here, you know?
bet.
Yeah. Like that was like the biggest thing. Like when I first got here, I was like, man, there's no freaking water. Because every day during training, like I had the same like rigorous schedule out there, but I would stop at the beach for an hour in between my trainings, you know? And like write a book or read a book and then like head back to like my next
Get a
sesh.
tan.
You know, yeah.
I mean, fuck, I know. I wish we had the ocean so bad.
Yeah.
But what kind of books do you like to read?
Right now I'm reading The Mastery of Love. And it's also like a segue off of the Four Agreements. So
How good is The Mastery of Love?
It's great.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Harsh for some people to read, probably.
You read it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And probably just like, yeah, it's good.
Man, I like expanding the mind.
Yeah.
You know, I like stretching.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a mental stretch.
Yeah,
man.
the
Oh.
relationships are so fun to talk about with people.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the longest you've dated someone?
I had 2 5.5-year relationships when I was younger. And then I've been single for like ever since then, essentially. Like I've dated people for like a few months here and there, but yeah,
Just grinding.
just pretty single, yeah.
Hell yeah. So you're
But
into
I was
those kind.
essentially married twice, right?
Oh, really?
Without being married.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, when
Yeah.
you're living with someone, you know, like everything's kind of merged and
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through the pain in the ass of going through the paperwork, though.
Right. Yeah.
better.
Never had to do the paperwork.
Hell yeah. So you like kind of philosophy type books?
Yes, I do.
That's
yes,
pretty
I
cool.
do. Yes. What kind of books do you like reading right now?
Similar books. Like I like this book by Naval. You should read the book called Awareness by Anthony DeMello.
Ooh.
You should check that one out. I mean, I put a lot of people on that book, and it's fucking good.
Okay.
It's really good.
Yeah.
You're writing a book
I've written 2 books. And then
with no ghostwriter?
No ghostwriter.
Damn.
Yeah, just me and a laptop. Just
How many pages?
My first book was 100 pages, and the second one was like 120, but I never published the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you just write when you feel like it?
That's the problem.
That's
is
the fucking problem, dude.
the first book, I definitely just wrote when I felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, if I'm thinking about like an actual timeline, it would have only taken me 3 months. Less than that.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was just like, nah, like it took me like a
Yeah.
year. And I'm like, that shouldn't have taken that long. Cause like when I sit down, man, I am in it. Like I don't even struggle. I just write, you know?
But it's getting you there to sit down and do it.
It's just making that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, being a writer is just such a fucking brutal job. Just being able to sit there and write.
Yeah. Have you ever done it? You ever
No.
written a book?
No.
You want to?
Fuck. Maybe when I get a little smarter. But not right now. But yeah, that's pretty cool. What were your
Thank
books
you.
called?
Stripper Bible.
Dang.
Yes.
What's it about?
So the first one was a how-to, and that was explaining to dancers the kinds of things that my dad explained to me, actually, because like I had someone who was guiding me through the industry. So I wrote this book to help girls make a lot of fucking money without compromising their morals and values.
Dang, that's cool. Because a lot of girls, they go, I mean, probably a lot of girls unhealthy mentally get into the job.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like the first question I would ask them, because like I've trained, you know, thousands of girls, and they'll be like, I'll be like, oh, like what made you want to start dancing? Because for me, I started because I was like, oh, this is gonna be so fun. I get to like jump around and have a good time and smile and make other people feel good, and that makes me feel good. But then like when I ask them, like, oh, like, so what made you want to start dancing? They're like, oh, I want to make a lot of money. And I'm like, oh, you're fucked. Like,
why are they fucked if they just want to make money?
Man, because you're gonna do whatever it takes to make that dollar. And there is so much temptation. I mean, every day I was like, you know, like swerving, like extra money.
Yeah, well, if a guy says, I'll give you $500 to just give me a little tug.
That's like, what I'm saying.
And is that illegal?
So for you're like, oh man, I just want a little tug.
A little tug, 500 bones.
Just a little tug. Yeah.
And you got to swerve it.
And I swerve it. But, and that, you know what? And I never shame anyone who doesn't, because we all have a different, you know, a different level of what we are okay with, you know, like not everyone's okay with taking their top off. I'm okay with taking my top off, you know? So it's like, they shouldn't shame me, and I'm okay with myself, but I'm not going to shame someone else either, you know?
So did you get those kind of, I don't even really want to call it morals, maybe, but did you learn that kind of from your dad?
Yeah.
He taught you, and what kind of stuff did he say to say, hey, don't start getting into that?
He never told me not to get into it.
Oh.
Yeah. He was so accepting of any decision that I made. And that was something that made me feel so comfortable with being completely myself all the fucking time. Like I never felt like I had to like hide behind a wall or something. But what my dad said was like, he's like, hey, honey, think of some things that you would never do for money. He's like, don't do them. Simple. He's like, you can make so much money, and he's like, don't ever be tempted, and don't let people pressure you, because the $100 right here, you could simply turn around and talk to another guy who's going to pay you double that amount of money to not compromise yourself, you know? And it was so true. Like I'd get tipped so much money just because guys would try shit and I wouldn't let them, and then they'd like the fact that I stuck up for myself, you know? Yeah, they'd be like, oh man, like you're awesome, you know? And like,
That's awesome. So on a good night, say one of your best nights ever dancing, what would you roll out of there with?
On my best night, I made like 8K. Yeah, like 5K. Was like, man, like what the fuck, you know? So but on an average, I made like $1,000. Like $1,000 was like my average. Like 1,000, like 1,500. That was like my like norm. Yeah.
And was most of the money coming from dances?
Oh yes.
Dances,
and
not
stage.
Stage quite a bit too, huh?
Yeah.
Because I did a thing, it was a thing for fundraiser for kids where all this fight team did a little strip tease for some girls. Shut the
freak up! Tell me,
I did it.
What is this? Tell me. You have to explain more.
I was super fucking nervous, but I just let it rip, and I did good. I had the crowd, all the girls fucking howling. I made some good ones, but I think I made only $120 of ones. So I'm like, for you to make 8K, that's pretty. You're probably at some balling clubs though. I was at some club in Montana.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I definitely worked at some of like the best clubs in the country. Yeah.
Because I bet in Vegas, was that the one where you're making the most?
Actually, Cleveland, Ohio, I made the most money.
Really?
Yeah. And like you'd be surprised, because it's not the guys that like, it's not the clubs where people would expect, you know, because it's always the clubs that like guys go there to not be seen. You know, like guys go there to be low key. And yeah, you know, then like they just want to be like secluded, like they want to go to the private room and they just want to like tip you, and yeah.
And then just kind of talk and
just keep giving you money, and yeah, and then they want to like eat lamb chops with you, like, and I'm just like, there's been times when like I've been in rooms where there's like a ton of guys, a ton of girls, I'm just sitting there like eating lamb chops, drinking champagne, like pouring champagne on myself, working like that's my job, you know, like take a champagne shower, literally.
I remember my friend Lloyd Woodard brought me to this strip club in Portland, Oregon called Acropolis. It was like a steak joint. And he was just up at the stage just chomping on his steak, and the girl's like flopping her butt cheeks right in front of him. I was like a teenager, 19. I'm like, whoa, this is sweet.
I'm cheering for him.
Hell yeah. So what other kind of stuff is that is your book about? That sounds pretty interesting and a good read for girls.
Yeah, that was that was the premise of the first book, and there's like a lot of life principle takeaways from that, like sales aspects, how to treat people, psychology, like how to like just be whole amongst all of that, and then how to kind of like swerve a lot of other life situations. So, but I wrote it for entertainers, and I feel like even now people look for the book and they want to purchase the book. And I'm like, it's not for the average person.
Yeah.
Like it's literally geared towards strippers. But if you want to buy it, I'll sell it to you. But yeah, like I don't know what interest you have in reading it. So then that's actually what inspired me to write the second book, which I finished but never published, which was Stripper Bible Public Edition. And that was an insight to the industry. So this is what people think it is. This is what it truly is. And here's why everybody thinks it is this way, because there are a lot of truths to people's perceptions, but also it's not always what you think.
Yeah. So when you want to go dance at another place for the night or something, who do you hit up? How do you go about getting in there?
I'm just a boss ass bitch, so I just fucking stroll my ass right in there.
You just walk in and say, "Hey, I'm dancing tonight."
Yeah, no. You have to audition no matter what club that you go to. So you always have to go in early, and you have to look a dime when you show up.
And dance for the owner.
And dance for the owner, the staff, whoever. Yes. Yes, there's been a lot of different types of situations.
Dude, I bet.
Man, I remember one time I walked into a club, and so now I'm like standing in the manager's office, and he's like, "All right, strip down naked." I'm like, "Oh, fuck."
You just got to do it, right?
Yeah, that's the part of the audition, So you just get down, and then he's like, "All right, turn around." And I'll just turn around in a circle. He's like, "All right, put your clothes back on." And that was the audition. But then there's other times where I've gone out there and I've had to put on a full on high level performance and still not gotten the job. You know?
Dang.
Yeah. So
maybe you just weren't ratchet enough.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Maybe. And I'm like, oh, what's the vibe? I don't know the vibe. Let me watch the other girls for a second. But they don't give you that opportunity. You walk in, and I have every dance style in the book. My dad taught me that. He's like, a good entertainer can dance to anything. And so don't ever lock yourself into a style. So I didn't, but yeah, sometimes I just didn't have the right vibe for that particular club,
Dang, your parents seem pretty cool. What are they doing now?
Yeah, my mom is still in Ohio, so she works in a factory. Very, she's awesome. But my dad was my best friend in the whole world, man. So, and he unfortunately passed. And that was a big driver for me to take fighting full force, because he was such a fan. He loved what I did. He thought it was the coolest freaking thing. So after he passed, it was this is the line in the sand for me. I'm either going to stop or I'm going to go 100% and be a freaking professional at this and take this very freaking seriously. Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, so awesome. Because you had your debut fight at what age?
I started fighting at 21.
So
but I started fighting Muay Thai.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kickboxing stuff.
21. How many amateur fights do you have?
MMA wise, I went 6-1.
Sweet. 6-1. And then you were amateur for how long?
A lot of years. And so I took a 4-year layoff in between.
Oh, 2012, 2017.
Yeah. You got the Tapology up there? Is that what you got?
Sure, dog.
Sure, dog. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from when I started fighting, and then I took some time off after the Caitlin Chikagan fight. And it wasn't because I, that fight, oh my gosh, dude. I fought her as an amateur, right? And we did a catch weight at 120, and it got stopped in the third round because I was still fighting, and the ref literally couldn't handle the damage that I was going through. Like
Yeah.
I'm a gamer, bro. Like
Yeah.
I'm in that shit. And so after that, no one would like, I feel like girls wouldn't take a fight with me. You know, it's like, I'd get ready, nothing happened. I get ready, nothing would happen. So I was like, you know what? If I'm getting ready for something, I at least want to freaking compete.
Yeah.
So that's when I started doing jiu-jitsu and taking that full go. Cause I'm like, jiu-jitsu, there's like 8, 12 girls, however, in a tournament. Like, I'm fighting people.
Yeah.
You know?
You're getting your workout
I'm
in.
getting my workout in. Like, I'm getting to compete. So I took 4 years to travel the world and just like get in the gi. And
So as an amateur from the 2012, 2017, it was just kind of a hobby and you were still dancing at the same time?
I was dancing up until my last UFC fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At just a local club?
Yeah, here in Phoenix.
Which club?
Yeah. I was dancing at Highlighter.
Okay, I've heard
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. I don't like the vibe in Phoenix as much as I loved, you know, like being at like the like higher caliber clubs. But
What's the vibe in Phoenix more? It's just it's like, it's not super big here, is it?
it's not glamorous.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like that's what I liked, you know, and that's okay. But I was here to train.
Yeah.
I came here to freaking train, you know, and I came here to get the job done as a fighter.
How did you
So-
find Fight Ready?
I found Fight Ready during the pandemic. So I mean, I came out here back in 2016. At the time, I was training for WWE, and I was about to go out for the trials for that. And I was like going over there, kind of doing some fun stuff, some jiu-jitsu, some rules. But when the pandemic hit, at the time I was in LA. And everything shut down. Vegas was shut down because I was working in Vegas and training in LA. I couldn't train anywhere. I couldn't dance anywhere. So I heard that Phoenix had opened up. And I just moseyed on out here for a little bit.
So Vegas, Extreme Couture, all those places, Syndicate, they were all shut down too?
I don't train MMA in Vegas, but I was going to Vegas to do jiu-jitsu sometimes. But I went there to work. I worked in Vegas. And then I was... So I'd work on the weekends and dance as a stripper out there. And then I was training full time in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there was a lot of commuting. I'd commute every single weekend.
And then you heard Phoenix was open, and then you just Googled MMA gyms?
Yeah, I Googled strip clubs. And when I was out here, I remembered about Fight Ready. So I popped over to Fight Ready and I met Santino. And they like let me train a little bit. And I stayed out here for just like a few weeks, you know, like got my bread up, went back over to LA. And then I was like, man, that was a good gym, you know, and the pandemic was still happening over there. And I was like, man, forget this. I'm out, you know, like I'm done.
Just packed all your shit, put it in a car?
Packed all my shit. I hit up Santino. I was like, hey, can I come train with you guys? He's like, sure. I was like, cool. See you tomorrow. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Damn. Sweet. Yeah, so you're liking it here in Phoenix.
Yeah, so far so awesome.
And then who are you really working with coaching wise, Santino and Eddie Cha, or just kind of all the coaches?
Just kind of all the coaches out there. Yeah, Santino, mainly Santino and Angel. Eddie a little bit, and then one of like my old teammates, Kyle Estrada, who's also like a fighter and stuff. So he helps me a lot with my striking. And
is the rent way different? Like, what were you paying in LA? Were you just living by yourself there too?
Yeah. I was paying like no, I had a bunch of roommates out there, so kept the rent down. Yeah. So the rent was only like about like $800-900 out there, and yeah, I live at a pretty nice place out here. So
yeah.
Yeah,
Scottsdale's nice. Scottsdale's nice too. It just has so much good organic food. This side of town's slowly growing, but there's just not near as much good food as Scottsdale.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more old school, old folks home out here, which is good.
You got the retired people out here, you know.
Yeah. There's not tons of chicks, which is good. Yeah, I like it out here. Did you see what happened yesterday in Texas?
No, but Cisco over here was telling me about that. What happened?
Yeah, it just wasn't good. Let me read here a little bit. It's just fuck, dude. I just can't believe mother of Texas elementary school shooter claims her son, 18, was not a violent person, but was a loner as she keeps vigil on her mother's side. This kid went into a school. I guess he was a loner, picked on, and he went and fucking shot it up.
Jeez, man.
I think shot his mom and killed 16 people.
Jeez,
I'm
man.
like, holy fuck. You can't even, I mean, he didn't create himself.
No.
He didn't create himself. So was it just bullying that caused him to do this? Was he molested as a kid, or what kind of shit happened as a kid? Because it's hard to just be so mad at that. But I can't even imagine getting that call. Hey, your 4 or 5-year-old got shot at school.
That starts at home. I believe, because it's like, to be so socially awkward at school, to not be able to make friends, to not have any sort of ability in like social settings, that starts because of like the confidence that you get in the household, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to really say, like, how do you create a psycho? I mean, I don't know, but I'm going to say that starts in the household, and like bad parenting or, neglect.
It says the
or
mother
trauma.
Oh yeah, 100%. The mother of the 6th school shooter who shot dead 19 children and 2 teachers in Texas has claimed he wasn't a violent person. His mom said she was surprised Salvador Ramos opened fire in a horrific killing spree. She admitted her son was a loner who kept to himself and didn't have many friends, but shot down claims she had a toxic relationship. It's like, who knows what these kids are into online, too, and what kind of groups they're into and what kind of influence they have.
Yes.
But in an exclusive interview, she did not address claims she was a drug addict who saw the boy leave her and go to live with his grandmother. Okay, so his mom was a drug addict. Mm-hmm. That makes a little bit more sense. He had earlier bought 2 AR-15 assault rifles, bragged about them on social media, and suggested he would commit an atrocity before the deadly attack. But earlier today, Ramos' grandfather revealed the family had no idea he legally purchased the 2 weapons. Damn, so he's just a young buck and he can go buy those ARs.
Legally. That was a very important word right there.
Yeah. Like, at least those should be maybe monitored a little bit harder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The fact that a kid can go out there and just get stuff like that,
Yeah, so you wonder what kind of stuff's going to change. Are they going to change anything? I mean, what could you do? You could make security like the fucking airport. Mm-hmm. But then, I mean, do you have money to do that?
And how old is this kid again?
How old is he? Was 6? No, he can't be 16.
So how old?
18.
So how long
Claims
is
her
this
son
kid
18.
going through school with these types of issues? And I mean, teachers are not parents. Teachers have their own job to do, and they have a classroom full of 30 kids and all of that. But it's like, nobody noticed this kid all these years, like nobody noticed that he had some issues and maybe needed someone to talk to and pull them aside. And is that a society thing too? Like, should we all be accountable? Like, if you see someone, like, go up and ask them, like, hey, man, you doing all right? Like, how's everything going? Like, man.
I'm sure it's hard in schools. I mean, with schools that the teachers are paid fucking shit.
Literally.
All the kids are just little shitheads. Mm-hmm. So it's probably fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, like, what the hell do you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you have any sort of meditation practice you do?
Man, I go to church every Sunday. Like, I'm there, and that's like a me thing, and going back to like something like this, like, I see people in church all the freaking time where it's like, dude, like, oh, like, I can just see how freaking sad you are and how in trouble you are right now, like, emotionally. Like, I read it all over you. And I go up to these people, I just give them hugs, man. And I let them cry, and then, like, I hold their hands and I pray for them and stuff, like, I just, like, give them power and, like, talk to them for a second, like, look at them eye to eye, like, because people need that. Like, we need that connection, and, like, there's so much lacking out there. And people got to step up a little bit, and, like, we got to freaking be there for each other. Like, if you think about it, like, prison, the worst thing that you can do to somebody is put them in isolation. That's the absolute worst punishment that you could give someone, is isolate them. So situations like this, like, can you imagine being in a room full of people but yet feeling so isolated until you're 18 years old? You know, and that's how situations like that are born, like, we got to be the people to reach out. And I know that, as a jiu-jitsu black belt, and as an instructor and all of that, like you kind of see that a lot with people, and you help so many freaking people in ways even outside of the mats, where like you're like there for them in ways that you're like, man, like I was just coming to teach, but now here I am. You're right. Yeah. How many times does that happen with you?
I mean, quite a bit, but even with the podcast and stuff, influencing people to just start eating healthy and start taking care of themselves and start sleeping good and start staying hydrated and actually like take care of themselves. That's not why I started the podcast, but kind of. And I mean, I get a lot of feedback that's helped a lot of people, and I've just learned it from other people and given it back. But like just eating healthy and sleeping good and, I mean, all the things I mentioned are so fucking important and not taught usually anywhere.
Isn't it crazy?
Usually anywhere.
The simplest things. Eat right, drink your water, go to sleep. Man, you'd be surprised at what a difference that makes in your whole life,
God damn. For real. For real. So what else do you got going on today?
Today, what day is it? Wednesday? Man, Wednesday's that day of the week where like by the time I get to Wednesday, I'm like, oh, it's only the middle of the week.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Because how many sessions do you think you're getting in a week?
About 18 to 20. Is that too much?
I mean, if those sessions are quality sessions, then no. But if those sessions are like, if you're going into them broke down and half-assing them, I'd say it's too much.
Right. Well, and there's a good ebb and flow, like my sessions are kind of like a heartbeat. Like some of them are like, gas pedal, like full rev, like red line. And then you got to bring it back a little bit. You got to do some green line workouts, right? Like you got to do some technique. You got to do some like, all right, like we just flowing today, we're learning some stuff. Yeah. And then the next sesh you go in and maybe, it's not quite red line, and like you're a little bit in the orange, like you're vibing. And then like you do some cardio work and you got to make sure you hit the sauna in between. I wish I had a cold plunge. Like, I meditate a lot. So it's like there's a good like up and down in my schedule.
Do you track your sleep? Do you have the Aura Ring?
I do have the Aura Ring.
How long have you been using it?
I've been using it. I used it my whole last camp, and then I lost the Aura Ring. Then I had to buy another Aura Ring, and then now I'm using the Aura Ring again, and I track everything. And
well, the UFC send you it, right?
They send you one.
Okay, yeah.
And then when we lose them, lost it, we got to get another one. Yeah. I should be like, it got crushed by a car. Yeah. So I love my Aura Ring.
Hell yeah. When did you start meditating?
I started meditating like 6 months ago.
And did you just read about it and you're like, this seems pretty powerful, and just started?
I've always wanted to know how to meditate. So like and then recently I was reading a book, Think Like a Monk, by Jay Shetty. And towards the end of the book, he talks about meditation, and I've always prayed, and I was like, man, like it just seems like a solid concept. Let me try this. And it was like so hard, man. Do you meditate?
Yeah, every day. Probably for about 4 years now. I was the same. I kind of read it in Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss and Tribe of Mentors. All these powerful people. Every single chapter, every different person said that and how powerful it was and how it changed their life. So I was like, there's got to be something to it. Yeah. So I started with the Headspace app, and then I started doing the Sam Harris app. He's this neuroscientist who talks you through. He's a meditation like expert too, and he talks you through it, puts you through a program, and I mean, it's changed my life a lot. Wow. In a lot of different ways. Changed my relationships. It's just changed the way when something happens that I can kind of choose my reaction and kind of sit back and look at it compared to just going off impulse and just fucking acting however I want. And it's just so many different ways with my relationships and everything. Interesting. What's your kind of schedule with it? Yeah. In the mornings, I usually do it, 10 minutes, and then try to find time throughout the day when I'm just sitting there and just do it again. Yeah. What about you?
Me, I meditate at nighttime. And I want to implement it more during the daytime. But, nighttime's the time where I'm like, all right, I'm done. I can decompress because I'm so freaking high rev all day, So I get home, I relax. I try to read in between on my breaks with the gym. But, yeah, and meditating is hard for me because it's hard for me to focus.
I think for everyone. I think for
Does
everyone.
Does it get easier? Tell me it gets easier,
I wouldn't say it gets easier, but it's just, you get kind of more familiar with, okay, I had a thought. Okay, that's okay. Accept that thought. Go back to your breathing.
Okay.
Okay, I had a thought. You're always going to be doing that still, no matter what.
Yeah. The UFC, they've tested me for a lot of different things.
And you got the records.
Of almost everything. Literally. It's crazy.
In your weight class.
In my weight class and in overall females.
Dang.
Yeah. Like
strength, speed,
agility, even focus. So
Really?
this one, when it comes to meditating, is something that I should be better at. But maybe because I meditate, I got this record. They put like a thing around your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they can measure how intensely you're focusing and for how long you're focusing. So there's like this thing, and like most people, I guess, only got to about 20 seconds. Was like that was like you're crushing it. You know, you can focus for 20 seconds.
And then a thought comes in.
And then a thought comes in. Yeah. For me, I focused for about a minute. And they were like, whoa, how did you do that? So, and that was in a perfect environment, right? No, I think that the perfect environment, I got about like 35 seconds. Perfect. Silent, you know, just sit there focused. The second time we did it, he was like throwing things at me, like moving stuff around the room, making a lot of noise, jumping around. And that's when I focused for a full minute. I actually focused better amongst chaos than I did in complete silence.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
That's pretty cool. So when you're performing what's the biggest, you performed in front of a big crowd for what fight? For your most recent one?
Yes, that's correct.
And that was a big crowd. Did you feel pretty, when the fight started, you felt pretty in the moment there, there?
Oh, yeah.
Which is hard for people, especially their first fight in front of 15, 20,000 people yelling in one area.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for people to just stay in that moment and think about what's in front of him. So, but being a performer, liking to perform.
I love it.
I mean, that's how Sugar is too. He performs better when the lights are on him and it's chaotic.
Yeah.
That's when he's most calm and most in the zone, which is super powerful.
I get to show off, man.
Hell yeah.
Like I work so hard for this. Like let me show you what I've learned. Like yeah, like that's like when I get to have fun, you know? Like training, that's the job. The job is training. The fight for me, that's when I get to like go out there and just like show off, man. Yeah. That's when I get to be me. Like I feel more pressure sometimes during sparring than I do when I'm fighting.
Because you're sparring a fresh person each round, or what's the pressure?
The pressure is like I'm trying to do all of the things that I've learned and like implement them and like put everything like into practice, and it's more reps. And I feel like I'm like, man, like I gotta do this right. And then when I'm fighting, it's like, I don't give a fuck.
Just
like
let loose.
I'm fucking here, man. Like this is the time. Like, yeah. Animalistic instincts, and that's why I did all the reps so that I can have this moment.
Just let it go.
Let it fucking go.
So June 25th, you're fighting Jin Yu Frey, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
What do you think about her?
Yeah, she's a smart cookie, man. She's got a pretty decent fight IQ. So, you know.
2-fight win streak.
She lost her first 2 fights in the UFC, and she comes up to 115. She used to be a 105er. So I'm going to assume that she's probably going to be a little bit smaller in general than me. But when we walk into the cage, I mean, we both, you know, step on the scale in 115. And she's pretty stacked for her size, you know. Yeah, like she doesn't look like she's like, man, like, oh, I got to go up a weight class. Like she looks like she belongs at 115.
Yeah, I was impressed watching you train jiu-jitsu. I'm like, pretty strong, like really strong. Your legs are strong and you have good jiu-jitsu. So look forward to watching the fight.
Thank you. Kind of love jiu-jitsu, man.
Yeah, fuck yeah. It's hard not to. Okay, guys, that's the episode. Go follow Crystal, Demopoulos, Vanessa on Instagram, and check out her stuff.
And YouTube.
And you just started a new YouTube, right?
I did start a new YouTube channel.
We'll put it in the link of the bio.
Yeah, little monster.
Sweet. Are you just going to vlog your days?
That's right. That's what we're doing.
Vlog your training camps?
Yeah, a lot of lifestyle. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Sweet. So this episode is sponsored by patreon.com/Redhawk Academy. I'm going to start doing a solo vid there every week, and it's going to have different topics. A bunch of stuff's going on there. If you guys want to support the pod, like and subscribe. All right. Love y'all. Peace.
Be amazing.